joining us. We're a little bit late, but actually we're not because in theory we're supposed to start at 7:10 or whatever the fuck, although this is noon 10, so well, whatever the fuck, doesn't really matter. I guess we are late actually, but whatever. Go for it, D.
We're a little
Do
bit
it.
late. What's going on, everybody? This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You have to be 21 and over to be here. If not, you have to leave. That means you, little Jimmy in the back. I see you there, buddy. Get out. You're not allowed to be here. Back
Especially
to you.
Jimmy, that goddamn troublesome Jimmy. What can we do? He's just he's like Dennis the Menace, but basically he's Jimmy the Menace. Oh shit, I just minimized the thingamajigger. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the chat. Bud Kilowatt's giving us the green light right away. Good to see you, Bud, as always. Switch to live chat. Bud, of
What the
course,
hell?
chat. Jones N2 is second in the chat. Welcome, Jones. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome, of course, to D here. Let me see here. Let me make him a co-host before I forget. Boom. There we go.
Don't forget live chat, top chat.
That's a very good point, D. Just like I just switched in the chat myself, switch your chat to live chat. I mean, you don't have to, of course, but we would really recommend it. You get a little bit less filtered experience. The comments come in the proper order that they were typed in. Weirdly enough, the top chat filters them by time and then pumps them out at different times and stuff. It's really kind of bizarre, actually. Anyway, I've been filtered in my own freaking chat by the general chat or top chat, whatever it is. Anyway, the live chat seems to be less invasive, less intrusive. Anyway, welcome, folks in the chat. Not too many folks in the chat, honestly, but hopefully, folks will start to pour in a little bit. You guys are, of course, welcome to join the show. You're welcome to join the panel. You guys are welcome to join the conversation in one way or another. You're welcome to sit in the chat and talk to us, but you're also welcome to hop on the panel. I have a pretty explicit, simple set of rules. Don't be a dick. Don't show your dick. Don't be a lunatic, and of course, don't bullshit. Basically, so that used to be an unspoken rule, but it probably needs to be spoken a little bit louder. So basically, like I said, don't fucking show any wiener shit. I don't want to see it. Don't be a wiener physically. You know what I mean? Don't come on here to start fights. Don't come on here to make fun of other panelists. Don't come on here to make fun of chat people. Just don't come on here to make fun of people in general. Honestly, if they're not here to defend themselves, it's kind of just punching down. But if you have positive contributions, if you have something critical to say, that's okay. But you need to really make sure that you're not just basically I don't know what would be a good metaphor, carrying a sack of shit uphill. I don't know, like basically, like if you're an asshole about it, please just save it for someone else's channel. For example, your own. Honestly, YouTube has I don't know if it's always free. Well, it is basically free in the US anyway, but you can definitely start your own YouTube channel, and honestly, who the fuck knows, maybe you'll take off. I say this quite seriously. It's actually annoying to me. I'm still serious about that too, that a lot of negative channels do really well. So if you guys actually are really negative about whatever the fuck, that includes this channel, go do something else. Go do your own channel. Go start your own empire. There's people that have million follower TikToks, Instagrams, YouTube channels just from shitting on other people's stuff. So go do that. Go do that somewhere else. We're basically in the meantime trying to hang out, have fun, learn a little bit, hopefully. I am sad to say it's very rare that we do learn something anymore, but we are still trying. Every once in a while, we do manage to learn something despite ourselves. The Wednesday show probably is better for that. Oh, look at that. North Star is joining us. And in the meantime,
Right on.
I honestly we might have a really good conversation. So, folks, good sign for you too. If you guys would like to hop on here, cheers, North Star. Good to see you. If you guys would like to hop on, this is a perfect time for you to join us, join the conversation, show off your garden, ask some questions. Between the little brain trust here, I'm sure we can find a solution to one. But I'm sure we can figure that out, folks. Let me rename him so that it's a little clearer. In the meantime, let's say hello to our friends. Do you go for it, buddy?
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a great afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. Not smoking on anything right now. Just chilling. Hope everyone's having a great day. Cheers, everybody.
Truthy, good to see you. Welcome, North Star. What's going on, buddy?
Another day trimming, having a good time here, getting down one of the last greenhouses. A nice big sweet tea. Right. Two big plants got to come down. getting cold out. It was like 38 degrees yesterday morning. I
Oh
think it was
wow.
like maybe like a degree warmer this morning. So it's the plants are like, all right, it's not so nice out.
Huh.
So everything here is pretty much ready. So I've just been taking it down this week, getting it done.
There you go. Thankfully, I took all my stuff down. Last year, it was kind of a nightmare. I was overseas, so my friends had to take down stuff for me, and I had plants in two or even three different spots. I'm forgetting now. Anyway, it was an absolute nightmare. And the rains came way too early, and oh my God, this, that, the other thing, it was an absolute disaster zone. This year, thankfully, the only real disasters, small ones, were I had some caterpillars. I was basically surprised by the amount of caterpillars because we didn't have basically any caterpillars last year. Maybe I thought to spray last year because what do you use? Bacillus thuringiensis. I can't remember honestly which one you use, but anyway, whichever one you use on the freaking caterpillars. I think maybe I sprayed last year, but that would have been early in the year. So I'm amazed that that stuck for the whole year. But anyway, whatever. Year to year, I guess things can be very different, right? So this year I got nailed by
Definitely.
caterpillars. Didn't lose all that much. Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't think I saw one caterpillar. I only had one plant outdoors here, but I think I saw maybe one caterpillar the whole entire season. It's just the year where they just weren't in sync with the coming out of the
Interesting.
usually man, I live in the woods, so I have like moths coming out of the woods like crazy
Huh.
all over the place, leaving them, but not this year at all.
Fascinating. Yeah, I mean, literally from I guess we'll see what next year holds. But
Yeah.
just from these two last years that I've grown in this spot, absolutely fascinating. Last year, I don't think we saw three caterpillars, and this year easily saw 100, maybe 200, something like that. Thankfully, it didn't ruin a lot of flower because I guess basically I caught, I think, a lot of them in time, but definitely had, even when I was drying the flower, definitely had some freaking caterpillars flying on the ground and stuff. So you got to watch out for those fuckers because they'll be happy to climb up a plant and infect your plant in the garden. I guess they don't really infect your plant so much in the garden, but if you were to be in flower, that would still be a problem. You'd end up basically probably losing a bud and you wouldn't know why, right? Anyway. Ladies and gerbils, like I said in the chat, or like I said earlier, welcome to folks in the chat. Jones hanging in the chat, J5's hanging. Martial artist, good to see you, buddy. Of course, our good friend from France, Christophe. Good, bonjour, my friend, or bonsoir, probably for you.
Big
Uh,
force.
but let's see here. I'm just reading about serendipitous text messages. Apparently, let's see what that has in store for me. But anyway, ladies and gerbils, you are welcome to hop on here and join the conversation because yeah, we're here for about an hour, maybe a little, yeah, about an hour still. So we're definitely interested in your questions, comments, whatever. Show off your garden, show off your North Star gear, show off your Fuminoro gear, show off reluctantly other
Yes.
people's gear too. Why not? It's fun to see people's flowers.
I
Tell
actually,
us about that kitty cat, by the way, D.
thank you. I actually know of people in the chat. I don't know if they're there now. They're actually growing North Star's gear right now, actually.
There's probably a few in the chat,
Cool.
honestly, growing his gear.
Yeah, I
Sweet.
don't know I forget which one
Uh,
who it is,
I'm
but
growing
yeah,
anything
there's
in North
someone in their
Stars right
chat.
now. No, I guess I chopped down your Harvest Moon Haze. Although I think I have a couple seedlings in the veg tent, but I don't think I'm growing anything of yours right now. I was gonna
This is
grow something
the
with
first
plant
sweet pea
green.
I've grown in the greenhouse, and I am thoroughly impressed with it in the greenhouse. It just
Looks
performed
good.
wonderful.
That's one I wish I'd kept it. I gave out some seeds that Sub gave me of that before he passed away, and I should have just kept the fucking bag of seeds, but I gave them away. It is what it is.
I
It's better that people
gave
have them,
them.
right? I've always thought that it's better that people have seeds than to be
Yeah.
poor. And especially when you can make your own seeds. Like at this point, I'm not excited by like, I don't know. Oh my God, have you heard about the latest seed drop or whatever? Like I can make basically anything I want, and even if I wanted something super land racy or whatever, I can make a couple of phone calls and order some seeds online pretty easily. And within a few months, basically have whatever the fuck I want. I think that's a lot more interesting, honestly, than going out to buy a pack of seeds, which is not to say that I don't like people's seeds or something. I think that would be really stupid, but it's just interesting how you kind of change your perspective a little bit over time. And yeah, you're more like North Star. I'm curious, are you fascinated? How do you phrase this question? Because I don't mean to say you're not fascinated by other people's weed or something. That would be dumb. But like when you think about growing seeds and even for the next few years, like not even just the next 6 months, but if you think about yourself for the next few years and think about your garden, do you think that you're more excited about, oh my God, so and so is going to send me a pack of seeds, or your friend Gooey Breeder that you talk about sometimes, or are you more excited about your own stuff that you're going to work on?
I mean, I like some of Gooey stuff because he gets some different, sort of exotic stuff. He's got some Lebanese stuff he's growing now and so forth. But in general, yeah, I don't even pay much attention to other people even breeding out there. I'm just in my own little world doing my thing. So I'm excited about what I plan to do coming up, and stuff that I want to get to. That's really I'm in my own little world when it comes to that. I don't pay too much mind to even what's going on. It's just I feel like it's all a distraction. I start all of a sudden you start chasing other people's dreams instead of your own. And I'm like, what am I breeding this for? I don't even like
That's a
this
good way to
stuff.
describe it. Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Cheers, folks in the chat, by the way. VT, Patricia, Operation Annihilation. You see a lot of that kind of breeding, and I think it leads to very muddled results. And I hear a lot of on the feedback end of this, I hear a lot of people say, "Man, I didn't get any keepers. I didn't keep anything from this guy. I didn't keep anything from this guy." I've heard a couple people who are we're not gonna rat on them, but a couple people who are regulars on the show have told me about a few breeders of theirs or a few friends of theirs, breeders that they haven't kept one thing from for a couple of years, and it's just blown my mind. But on the other side, it kind of makes sense to me because I've been sort of looking at these people's breeding and thinking, shit, this is really, it's just kind of like throwing shit against the wall. And it was a beautiful way to describe it, kind of breeding other people's dreams, breeding other people's
Yeah.
desires, other people's interests. You're never really going to know what other people want for something. So you're always just kind of going to be like marionetting it together. And fuck, maybe you accidentally run into something great, but shit, it's very unlikely.
And you got to
It'd
think
be
of where
like a
people are
cook
getting the ideas
thing
from.
with fucking stilts or something.
They're online going through different social media pages, seeing pictures and getting ideas. It's not even they have never tasted it before, have grown it, but they want to grow it and breed with it now. You want to breed with it, you've never even grown it yet. So they go maybe buy a clone of it, and all of a sudden they're hitting it up with something. It's the first time they've grown the plant. I mean, if you go by that mentality where whatever you're being marketed is what you want to go and breed with and become. I mean, the whole world will be drinking Folgers right now is all we'd have for coffee. Everyone would be like, "Oh, Folgers is the biggest, the best. Everyone's got to go for that. We're all going to drink the same stuff now because we're all going to. That's our dream to be big and breed what they're breeding or something." So everyone's got to have their own little take on it and their own their own world of what they imagine the perfect cannabis would be. That's what you have to go for,
There's
not
an
be
interesting point too.
bogged down by it.
There's a great temptation when you're breeding to basically knock whatever. For example, if you have a male that you're working with, there's a super temptation to anytime you have a new clone, basically to immediately breed that like yesterday, right? And get new seeds from it. But I felt that I felt, I think in the beginning, but I've always felt basically to this, whatever I feel now is kind of a dumb way to say it. Maybe I'm getting a little high. I smoked a joint before the show, but I feel that you need to test the plant first, if for no other reason than to just get to know it, basically. Because essentially you're doing, I'm not going to make too weird metaphors because it's not like you're doing human dating or something, but you're basically matchmaking, right? You're freaking like a Jewish Yenta matchmaker, bringing this wonderful little girl together and this wonderful little boy, and you're trying to make interesting progeny. I feel like if you don't know anything about for example, the female, if you know a lot about the male, that's great. At least you know 50% of the cross. But if you just only know the name, basically, and just a couple other characteristics, and that's about, you don't know how it grows, you don't know what it needs. For example, I've been talking about for a couple of fucking years now, I've had this clone of Pine Sol. I think bred by one of the Bodies. I don't remember which Bodie, but it's lovely weed. It's not the strongest growing plant, honestly. It's not the strongest cloner. It's not the strongest. It's kind of got the OG shittiness, like it's really got to be supported. It did really well outdoors. But last year, basically, it was one of the only plants that nobody had to do shit about. It was, I was off in Israel, and my friends didn't have to do shit to this one plant. But other than that, oh my absolute God, my friend, it's her favorite flower, absolute favorite flower. It's got this really unique, clean high, no kind of paranoia for nothing, right? Anyway, we're out of Pine Sol right now because it's so hard to grow. I've finally figured out after 2 fucking years that this goddamn plant just needs maybe like a triple helping of calcium. I don't even know if that's exactly what it is, because honestly, that doesn't really sound plausible. But basically, when I fucking upped the shit out of the gypsum on it one day, I was just like, let's just see what fucking happens, because I had some gypsum. It finally got healthy. And mind you, it's still not a
Yeah.
completely healthy plant because it's throwing three leaf fan leaves and stuff, but at least that's part of the secret. Anyway, there's all kinds of different plants that, I keep it because it's got a really compelling flavor and high and everything else. And I hope, I've bred it a couple times to things. I hope that by breeding into other things, I can improve the breeding characteristics. But look, I've basically fucked with this plant for a long time and tried a little bit of this and tried a little bit of that and tried a little bit of that. And so I feel like I know a fair amount about this plant. Don't know everything, because obviously I'm sure there are people that are growing this plant really healthily. If I had to guess, in synthetic gardens, a little bit warmer than mine, under HPS lights, I don't have that many HPS lights, slightly different gardens, right? Doesn't matter. I think I know enough about this plant that I can breed it compellingly into other interesting things in the future. That's just an example. We don't have to use me as the fucking archetype of goddamn breeders. But what I'm trying to say is that I think that you need to get to know a plant first before you can make any kind of useful contribution. And so otherwise, what you're doing is basically testing, which is fine too. It's fine to experiment and test as long as you know that that's what you're doing, experimenting and testing. But I think a lot of the breeding that you see is just like some hype shit on Instagram and some other hype shit on Instagram, and they just throw that together for literally no other reason than the two of them have great keywords on Instagram. And wouldn't you be surprised, the breeding is uncompelling, actually. It's not actually Instagrammable, because that's not how breeding works generally. I don't know. Do you disagree, Northstar?
I think there's just too much of that is exactly the problem.
Hmm.
It's uninspired breeding. It's like, all right, this is going to be easy to sell because both of these things are popular, or there's great pictures of both these strains floating around, so I can pick up these. Especially when you can get clones of both of them and just reverse one. Like, you can literally go to one store, pick up like half a dozen clones, say, all right, I have 5 new seed menus coming out with these different males crossed to the same exact females back and forth, and you've done no actual work of any sort and know what's going to happen. You just know that people are buying these because they're popular, and you're going to go ahead and just sell seed stock of it or something.
Oh yeah, there was there
I'm
was a
sure people
line.
do that just for them, maybe even for themselves, and they're selling themselves short because they haven't actually made a selection for themselves. Somebody else is making all the selections for them. What they like. Like, these are the best phenotypes of these plants you can get. So this is what you're going to have, as opposed to popping some seeds and deciding for yourself what tastes better, what feels better to you, and going that route.
Yeah. And in that sense, an AI breeder could totally replace that person because they didn't actually do any personal testing. I mean, I was just thinking about that kind of on the other side. Like, you could replace that person with a monkey, basically. You could replace them with a robot or a computer program. You could replace it with ChatGPT, essentially, because they don't really have any experience with the product. And I lost my train of thought that I was going to say before
But
that.
yeah, you're asking AI, all right, what's the 5 most popular strains out there people are looking for right now,
Yeah.
and where can I find them? And then you're like, all right, let me buy, reproduce.
That's it. That's it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I was going to talk about how do I be unspecific so nobody knows exactly who I'm talking about. A couple, 3, 4 years ago, unspecifically, there was someone in the community who bred. I don't even think you can say bred. He basically got a herm of a very popular flower. He was probably growing this plant as a clone, and that plant hermed, which it's actually prone to do, and it hit something else that is very popular that he was probably cash cropping. So he probably had these 2 things in his fucking garden as cash crops, but the one thing hermed onto the other thing, and everyone for about 2 years shit their pants for this cross. That everyone was talking about was so this and was so that and was so something else, and anything that he or some of his friends hit this basically accidental cross to, everybody was shitting their pants to get. And I was thinking the whole time, this is kind of a strange situation. We basically had a situation that nobody wants. You had a herm of this plant that is prone to herming, and basically when it herms, it basically passes a herm trait. It's kind of known for that too. So you essentially have unstable progeny that everybody's basically selling as if it's the second coming of Jesus. Well, wouldn't you know it, couple 3 years later, that whole line has disappeared because it's probably super herm prone. It's probably not very good, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But God, everybody was talking about how fantastic it was. It really opened my eyes to the low standards, I think, in the even basically so-called connoisseurs were basically talking about how fantastic this line was, and I just remember kind of scratching my head because there was nothing in that line that the parental lineages didn't have themselves. But anyway, whatever. Like I said, I try not to talk shit about people, so I don't want to be more specific because then it'll just sound like I'm talking shit about somebody. I just don't like this scattershot breeding, this scattershot, no purpose, no, even if the purpose is to basically breed an interesting line, and that's the only purpose, that's at least I think a purpose, when it just kind of comes out randomly. Maybe I'm just babbling too much. Folks, hop on here. If you don't hop on here, it's basically just me babbling. Join the conversation. North Star here, poor guy's trying to trim. We all know
I'm
how
gonna pack a bowl up
is.
here.
What's that? Oh no, that's a good idea.
Pack a bowl up.
There it is. Oh, I have so much trimming ahead of me. I'm trying to put it off. Honestly, I should be trimming right now. Honestly, I just don't want to. We'll get to it. But the nice thing about trimming is that you have weed at the end of it. But hey, folks, hop on though. It would be fun to have some conversations. Mark Rish is in the house. I think that's a new name, so welcome. Mark Rish is saying, as much as I'd like to be a rock star breeder, I grow and breed for myself. Thank you very much. Honestly, I think that's
you are a
probably
rock star breeder.
important
Then if you
thing.
breed for yourself, that's a rock star move right there.
Seriously, yeah, you're doing it for
Your own
yourself.
seeds, hell yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the best things. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes, or how do I put this? It's one of the biggest signs, maybe. I don't know, whatever I'm trying to say. It's one of the biggest differentiators, maybe, between kind of one type of breeder and the other. I think there's a lot of breeders who are basically breeding for themselves. I've said this before. I wouldn't breed something if I wasn't willing to pull out money out of my pocket and literally pay for it right there. If it's something that bores me, I don't know why I would excite anybody else, right? Like that would be foolish. Like if it's not even interesting to me, come on, fuck, how could it possibly be interesting to somebody else is another way you could put it. So, and likewise, basically I'm trying 90% of the time basically to run through my lines. I'm also running through clones and everything else, but I'm basically trying to pop essentially my seeds all the time. So I'm trying to think, and I know North Star does that too, and I'm sure his friends Gooey Breeder and so on, they're all trying to do the same thing. I feel like one of the best parts about making seeds is that you get to have your own fucking seeds. Seriously. So if you're not popping your own seeds on the regular, the fuck are you even doing? I mean, seriously, what are you really doing it for? And I
And
think
think about breeding with, I mean, how quick you go from having plants that you like to making seeds to actually being able to grow them seeds into product you like again. It's not like you're growing apples or peaches or something where you're, all right, I'm going to grow these
20 fucking
seeds and then
years.
hopefully I get something 8 years down the road that's worth, I mean, you're not spending half your life to find out you haven't made anything yet.
Yeah. And you get a really unique situation whereby I need to actually start having my tasting group again, because a couple things that I have, I think are the strongest thing I have of the entire library I have. I think my Sour Morgana #4 is basically the rock star, because every time I smoke her, she just fucking knocks me the shit out. And that's one of a couple things. One, I do think it is strong weed because I've smoked it with a couple other friends. And they got pretty high as well. But I definitely also think that I have essentially selected the weed for myself. And this is an inevitable process of basically breeding down a line for yourself and making selections. Or how do I put this? It doesn't even have to be for yourself, but making selections to your taste down a line. You end up basically breeding it for you, for your endocannabinoid system, basically, right? We always talk about, or the metaphor is a system of locks and keys. Well, you end up basically breeding a keychain filled with locks for your fucking or keys for your lock, And how do I put this? I want to get back to my tasting group because I want to see if other people get as fucked up from that Sour Morgana as I get fucked up. But either way, I guess my point is that the wonderful
drop me off a
side
sample.
effect, maybe it's seriously, yeah, no sealing, all that. No, the wonderful
Sounds
side
good.
of reading your own shit is that you get ripped as fuck. right? So I can't get that ripped on ice cream cake. I can't get that ripped on GMO. I can't get that ripped on other things. And you'll end up having something similar, whatever it is. If you like a GMO line, there's tons of people have been breeding GMO, cherry pie, cookies lines, right? I feel like that's kind of played out, but hey, because those are all basically the same genetics. But whatever, if that's the shit that fucking floats your boat. There was a guy on the show years ago that loved the thing that fucked him up the most was forum cut cookies. Go figure. Okay, work that line down the road. You're going to end up 2 or 3 generations down the road. You're going to have something that fucks your shit up because you selected it for yourself. It's really interesting to see it play out. What else are folks here in the chat talking about? Mark Richards, I'm here for the sour and the haze. That's a good combo.
Check out
The
Jonathan.
recording contract. Does that make you a rock star? That depends. Was it for recording screaming sounds for Halloween? Was it what kind of recording contract was it? What are the stupidest recording contracts we could think of? Uh, warning announcements for the London Underground. Mind the gap, perhaps.
Jones in Jones in the Grow in the chat says he just chopped a black Solomon Magana 2 years
Nice.
ago. Frosty she
Nice.
is, indoor, 5-gallon organic, lost track of days in bloom, at least 85.
Nice.
So there you go. Yeah.
Glad to hear
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah, it should be a good one.
Fucking dogs.
What happened to the fucking dogs? Looking
I
forward to
just yelled at them. Not even my dogs.
dog. Hopefully, maybe in about a month and a half, 2 months, something like that. We'll see.
Cheers, Crymore.
Way too long since I've had a dog.
And
Who else in the chat here? By the way, I forgot to say hello to Patricia, I think. She says, cheers all. Who else in here? Operation Maverick says, how are you going to learn all the plant nuances if you only grow it out a time or two? Exactly, 100%. I mean, on the one hand, I feel like a lot of times how do I say this in a way that doesn't make me look like an idiot? I think we overcomplicate the differences in plants. And I think honestly, if you have a good, healthy, for example, I grow in organic mediums and basically living soil. If you have a good, healthy living soil, you almost never have to do a fucking thing. And almost you essentially just have to stand back and go. You let go of the reins, basically. It's a real shame we have such an antagonistic relationship to Coot because I have so many different times to bring up the things that he taught us because I remember he taught us this kind of intentional apathy, right? And that's one of the best ways to look at least living soil organic gardening is basically you have to know when to essentially just kind of step back and let things happen. And for that to happen, you have to have a good, healthy soil mix and you have to, of course, water properly and so on. But fuck, as long as you don't get in the way, the plants just do their goddamn thing. Every once in a while, you have to step in. Like I said, Pine Sol, for some reason, was just constantly this, that, the other thing, purple stems, on and on and on, would kind of come together and flower. But man, not as healthy as she should be, and not as healthy as other people I've seen grow Pine Sol. So it's obviously not the plant's fault. Anyway, here comes Captain 420. Anyway, so once in a while, you got to figure this shit out. OGs are famous for needing to have support and so on and so forth, being probably a little bit more quote unquote CalMag heavy. That's not really what they're looking for, but they're looking for basically uptake of all those micronutrients probably that come with those supplemental bottles, I guess. Anyway, you don't have that same problem in living soil, but I'm babbling a little bit. What am I trying to say? I usually think that most plants don't need babying. I guess I'll just wrap that statement up with that. Captain,
I
what's going
agree. I totally agree 100%. I treat it like a weed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if people say, "Oh, you want to keep the air moving between the top of the canopy and your lights." Nah, I don't want to put that many stakes. I don't want to put a trellis up. So put that fan right on those plants. Let them get strong to hold themselves up. And dry back is something that I do like crazy, but I get results.
Dry back depends on what you're working with. I know, put it this way, how do I even begin? I was going to say dry farming. Dry farming is not the same thing as drying back, but I guess to use the kind of metaphor of dry farming, you get an incredible explosion of flavor from these plants that basically have enough water adversity that they have to search for the water in the ground. You're not basically having the same effect when you're causing a dry back because you still have the same amount of soil medium, whatever. What doesn't fucking matter. I'm getting too nerdy. The point is that you're trying to induce that same kind of effect. You're trying to induce that whole the metaphor of great wine must suffer, right? You're trying to make the plant suffer a little bit to kind of work for its nutrients. That's a fine line because I think in living soil, you can definitely hold back both your plants and your soil from kind of max performance, basically, by doing those drybacks. Basically, you cause your soil medium and the critters in it basically to go
to
dormant.
die.
The
Yeah,
worms and everything else, they go dormant. And then basically when you water again, okay, they come back, but they're not coming back at the 100% that they were, let's say the previous time. They're coming back at 90% maybe. And then the second time they're coming back at 85% and maybe at 80%. And little by little by little, you're kind of killing your worm population. You're killing your population of just other creepies and crawlies. We don't have to list everything, right? Your isopods and stuff. You know what I mean? Uh, I think in a living soil, you're better off not doing too many drybacks. Maybe at harvest time, maybe. But even then, I kind of baby my living soil like I would a pet. It basically is a pet, essentially. I've had at this point, and this is it's kind of like a joke, honestly. It's not a joke, but it is. Essentially, I've had my soil longer than I've had any dog. Basically, like my dog passed away now. It's bizarre, right? And I've carried my soil with me, my indoor soil with me, like it was a pet, and I've cared for it basically like a pet. I regularly feed it. I make sure that it's in a safe environment. But I water. I make sure there's a living root in it all the time. It really is like a fucking pet, honestly. Bizarre. But the reward on the other side is that basically anything that I plop into that soil just fucking grows. Basically, I don't have any problems. I don't have, except for pine sol, I don't have purple stems. I don't have deficiencies. You know what I mean? Even new clones. I picked up a couple new clones the other day, plopped them in my soil. Wouldn't you know it? They're happy. And they were synthetic. They were obviously synthetic clones. I put them in the freaking living soil. Couple days they were switched over. That was that, right? It was just like not a thing. You don't get that basically with organic bottles. Some of these people use
exactly.
7 organic bottles. What the biobiz or whatever, people rave about those things. Fuck, first of all, it's so incredibly expensive, but second of all, you really don't get that kind of same effect. Anyway, as for synthetics and stuff, I don't have that much experience, I guess, lately. So
But you kind of said it there. With something living, you need to keep that moisture content in the soil to keep your microbes and everything living. I am doing many different strains, so I need to, okay, this group over here are heavy feeders. They need a lot of nitrogen. These over here are lighter ones. If I give it the same as I do these, I'm going to burn the hell out of them. And I push it to the max, to my max. And every once in a while, I'll hit a plant that I shouldn't have with the regular mixture, and I burn the tips a little bit. Where in living soil, I don't think you really have that problem.
well, you can have overabundances in living soil too. Bud yesterday was talking about bat guano. If you had too much
Oh,
manure,
yeah.
basically in general, not just guano. Guano would be an easy one to overdose on because you can really overdo it because it's essentially plant available. It's basically that was one of the secrets with bat guano for years is that not only is it a good source of nitrogen, but it's essentially immediately available almost overnight, right? And there's almost nothing else that is like that. Not even like fish hydrolysate, stuff like that. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. I think my high is wearing off, and now that's that peak where my brain stops working again. What am I talking about?
Yeah, I got a
Smoke
similar
another
issue
Oh,
where
the nutrient burns, manure. Go ahead.
I have my I have a greenhouse with say like 18 plants in it, and I'll have like 6 different things, like 3 of this, 3 of that, and I have a big variety, and they don't all want the same thing. So I can't just give them fill every single pot the exact same way. I have to kind of go in there and I basically whatever my least feeding plan is, that's how much I fill the pots up with. So that the plant that gets fed the least eats the least, so to say. that plant will be happy. The ones that are heavier feeders, I have to actually go back in and top dress extra and give extra food to, because they'll fade out way faster. And some plants, especially this time of year now, I'm getting the cold nights. I have certain plants that react more to that than others. So I have, like right now, Mac 1 is like, you can give me water every 3 days, 4 days. And then I have Sugar Jacks and Santa Marta Slings that want water every day still. They're charging along like nothing, don't even care. It's getting cold out. So getting even more varied, where those plants are going to be growing twice as fast as the other ones. They're going to need a lot more food and water, as the other ones are just going to sit here and just muddle along slowly with the colder nights.
Well, that's what I'm running into right now. Instead of watering every 2 to 3 days, I'm now at the point where the plants that aren't near the heater, those don't have to be watered for like 5, 6, 7 days.
Nice. Yeah, it's turning now, but now it's the same thing. The same problem I have is I have to literally crawl into my greenhouse and start tugging on pots to see which ones are heavy, which ones are light, and
Yeah.
tying certain lines off. So it's turning into, it's almost just easier for me just to go in there and turn the drippers off altogether, not even worry about it, and just hand water from here and the rest of the season, I think.
Once you get to that cold spot, yeah, because certain plants, they could be in a colder area. The sun may not hit them until a little bit later. Well, that little bit later keeps that soil cooler for a longer period of time, which retains more water.
Indeed.
Like my captain's cut a Death Star. It got put into some hot living soil, and it's taken me 4 months to get nice cuts back of it. And I was told, hey, listen, don't give anything to these, just plain, what's your pH on your water? I said, I live in Cleveland at 7.0. I said, after 25 years, 30 years, it's still 7.0. He says, oh, just give it the water. Don't feed it because you'll burn them. And I've been told that I shouldn't have to add anything for about 2 months because it is in living soil. And I do keep those I don't dry those out all the way. I dry the top of the soil out, but not the root ball itself.
Still can't get over. We were talking about Build a Soil yesterday. I guess they're having a cup this weekend. Oh, cheers, American One. Long time no see. But
Cheers, dog.
somebody on Reddit this weekend or something, I can't remember. Anyway, a few days ago, it doesn't matter because this is like a regular occurrence. If it wasn't a couple days ago, it'll be tomorrow. Someone on No Till Growery, the subreddit No Till Growery, someone always asks, do I have to use Build a Soil or can I use local stuff or can I use something else? And I just shake my head and just keep scrolling. I don't even bother, right? Like I don't even bother writing on those threads at all. Because it's essentially like, oh, do I have to buy $10,000 of lenses from Nikon or can I buy a point and shoot? It's so stupid. It's like, of course you can buy stuff locally. Of course you don't have to spend. Oh, and by the way, the guy's price for like 100 gallons of soil was $430 plus shipping, I think it was. I'm just like, oh, fuck's sake. But whatever. I mean, congrats to Build a Soil for making that business model that people think they have to buy that shit, right? Like Jesus friggin' Christ. But oh my God, it is what it is. Like I for what it's worth, I never buy anything from Build a Soil. Not because he's a bad guy or anything. It's just because I don't want to spend that kind of money on dirt. The fuck.
Yeah.
And here's me, like I was telling you, like it's my pet, right? I treat the soil so well, right? I never spray pesticides around it or anything. But I'm not going to be ordering freeze-dried aloe powder. I'm not going to be ordering South American, what was it, Argentinian saponins. I mean, Jesus Christ, it sounds like a joke. It sounds like a Michelin star restaurant. Seriously, like I just don't understand it. First of all, why do you
Sell
need
product.
endless amounts of fucking saponins on your soil? Like, what are you accomplishing in the soil that you need all this fucking soap in it for? Seriously. And not only that, but saponins are bad for soft body critters. So if you actually want cycling soft body critters, and I presume they're bad for bacteria. In fact, we know that they're bad for bacteria and fungus because saponins and soap basically kills. It's antibacterial, antimicrobial. So you're pouring all these fucking saponins into your soil. Is that fostering a healthy ecosystem? I don't think so. I think it's probably killing a bunch of stuff, and it's probably masking something else that you're probably putting too much in. I don't know. It's farcical to me that people would pay that kind of money. But I mean, good for him. Fuck me. Like it's nice probably to roll in cash. Cheers, America. One. What's good for you? What's good with you, buddy? Long time no see. He says, yeah, it's good to be seeing D Zombie. I've been out of the loop, but lurking when I can. How's the garden, American one? Are you still running the garden, or are you hopefully coming back soon, or what's the deal, buddy?
Cheers, Tao.
Chat here. VT's hanging with us. Yeah, not good for worms either. None of the things we were talking about just now were good for worms, not the drybacks, nothing. Who else in the chat here? Come on, folks, hop on. Join the show. Come chat with us. Tell us what you're going to be for Halloween. People probably are going to go trick or treating with their kids, or what's a new thing now? Trunkoween, apparently, where people go and they dress up and they. We might go to a Trunkoween tomorrow. You basically just kind of do adult trick or treating with some friends, basically like
That's easy.
tailgating with candy, kind of. But
All you need is a blonde wig and a some blood, fake blood, and what do you call it? The things for your ear for medical. You can cover your ear. Looks like you got shot and you're set.
oh yeah, bandage.
Bandage, thank you.
I wanted to get a bee costume and then put a bunch of Masonic symbols on, and I'd be a Mason bee. um,
Nice.
yeah, but I didn't want to spend money, so I ended up not doing a Mason bee. But what else? Oh, I don't even know. I'm gonna try to pull something off tomorrow because I think we're gonna go to that Trunkoween. So I'm gonna try to pull off a simple costume. I don't want to spend a lot of money on it, so I'm gonna try to pull it off. I'll tell you guys next week or next Saturday or something if I pull it off. Uh,
True
Mark
towel.
Rich Mark Rich is just drooling about saponins. Oh yeah. No, that's it. Mark Rish he's got it right there. He says grow some aloe and blend a leaf or two and feed your plants once a week or so. That's 100%. That's the best advice. And that's essentially what I do. Unfortunately, with my move and stuff, I don't have big aloe plants. I have like 15
Oh, I did.
ones. But hopefully in the next, when I move, I'll basically be able to, give them proper light and stuff. And they grow like gangbusters. They grow crazy. But it's easy enough if like anywhere near you, if you have a Mexican, Asian, probably even African store, basically you can get aloe leaves, basically aloe fronds, I guess we call them. For me, it's the easiest at the Vietnamese store, probably easiest and cheapest.
Oh,
I guess I haven't checked because in Oregon we're lucky enough. Basically, we have huge Vietnamese,
that's
Chinese
for the rice.
communities, etc. So we have even Japanese. So we have quite a few different markets. There's Uwaji Maya. There's a few other Japanese markets, but we got endless Korean, on and on and on. So it's pretty easy on the West Coast, south in California. You could just go to John's, honestly, which is actually an Armenian store. But there's plenty of places, at least on the coast. I'm sure you guys can find fresh
Oh,
aloe. When I buy it, it's $1 per big fucking frond, and it just comes from
Yep.
Texas. So I'm sure you can buy it basically anywhere. You can probably buy it in South Dakota for all I know.
we can
Go to the store and look for it. What's that, D?
we can buy it actually in our local grocery store just up the street. Big from like you said, one big
Yeah. And
Yeah.
thing.
as long as it's not
And
expensive, I mean, if it is expensive,
no,
obviously use your diligence or whatever, right? But that big fucking frond is packed with salicylic acid and fucking amino acids and a wonderful magic. We'll just say Harry Potter magic, right? And if you blend that shit up basically and mix it with water and pour it onto plants, you see wonderful, wonderful results, and you see much faster, much clearer results. Okay, I can't say much faster results, but you'll see better results than if you use any kind of a concentrate powder. I mean, that's I think you can pretty well guarantee that, honestly. So any kind of super expensive, again, not to take anything away from Build a Soil, he does a great job marketing. He's got a spectacular channel and everything else, but gosh, you don't have to spend $200. What was it? Last time I looked, the smallest quantity. Well, no, I don't know if it's the smallest. Maybe it was smallest available. Quantity of that aloe was like $150. I was like, fuck right off. I don't need that at all. And especially when I looked at the concentration, I guess I can't swear to this, but I don't think it was too many. I don't think the concentration of an entire several ounce bag of that aloe was more than that much aloe fronds. So like it was not a good trade, honestly. But whatever, your mileage may vary, right? If you can't get aloe and stuff like that.
Turns out when
Go ahead, D.
no, sorry, go ahead, Drew.
Oh, honestly, I was just going to say something that Operation was talking about, so go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it was funny. You were talking about aloe on the last show. Next day, I'm gonna be getting some aloe from one of Mrs. G's sisters. She has a whole bunch of little babies, so I'm gonna grab
Oh,
some
that's
of
the way.
them.
That's the way.
Yeah,
They don't
man.
take very long to grow at all. And surprisingly, people always assume that they're kind of like a cactus or something, but they're not. They're basically a moist
No,
succulent. They really prefer essentially the same soil that weed does. So basically, whenever you water, I mean, obviously use your mileage because if it's a tiny little plant, don't sop the freaking soil, right? But basically water it every time you water your cannabis, and you'll see the fucking thing grow. They grow really quite quickly, and they can soak up a lot of light. So if you actually have them in your, let's say, bedroom or even honestly your flower room, they'll happily soak up light in any little corner that you have. You can always put them on like a roller or something, just kind of push them out of the way when you need to walk by. In no time at all, you'll have enough aloe that you can grind up, and just wait a while, and they'll pay you back for
Fucking point. Sorry.
yeah. We got a little bit of time left to go, ladies and gentlemen, and then right on time, Small Tubes says, hey, what's going on, Small Tubes? Folks, you're more than welcome to hop on for, we'll call it last call, probably another, just a little bit over 20 minutes left to go in the show. Maybe enough time to smoke a joint, for example, or just hop on and chat with us. You're more than welcome to ask some questions. North Star is right here. He's a very experienced breeder and a grower, outdoor breeder, outdoor grower. Folks, I'm sure you have something you'd like to know.
Experienced trimmer.
There you go.
He's right there, guys. Right there in the chat, asking some questions.
I need to
I
get
need about
out here
4
'cause my
days
phone,
of trimming.
I cannot see the chat on my phone.
You might not have the YouTube chat here. Can we get the link for the YouTube chat? Here, where is it? Right here.
Oh, right on. I'm finally getting a puff off this joint. Fuck.
Why put filters in them?
Hit
I
this
don't.
link.
No, it's these fucking. I have nothing else right now, so all I have right now is these fucking pre-rolls that don't smoke, and then I try to re-roll them, and they don't even work. Like I'll re-roll them, and they won't even get suction or nothing. It's a real piss off. I'm gonna tell these guys to fuck off and keep them next time.
Seriously.
Seriously, I'm not happy.
When you order, say I don't like.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna tell them keep your joints, your pre-rolls. They're fucking garbage. That's what I'm gonna tell them, straight up. No, I will. Fuck them.
D, are you hoping that the person will be so personally invested that they'll be like, "Oh my God, you have wounded me"?
I hope so. I just don't like this is like every time I get these pre-rolls, they don't burn, they don't smoke. Like I'll try to light it like this, like a normal pre-roll, and they don't even you can't even get a drag fall off
You
them or a
think they're
drag.
too moist or too dry? What's the issue? Or
I don't know. They're just garbage.
Burn it all.
They don't burn at all, and I can't even re-roll them. Even when I
Okay.
Weird.
No, if it doesn't burn at all, then you know exactly what it is. Too much nutrient.
Too much nutrient if it doesn't. I was gonna say it was too wet, but I don't know.
No,
What-
it's dry.
Well,
how would you say? Well, describe it more, Captain. Tell us more.
well, considering I've had to move to just smoking joints. I can't really smoke out of bowls much anymore.
You could do that.
So when I roll a joint, if there's nutrients in it, because I've been growing for 28 years, almost 29 now, you
Yeah.
know, I've had a little bit of too much nutrient. And when you grow DWC, sometimes your roof ball can be really dense. So you don't get a good flush on it. And the nutrients, if it's still in the plant, they won't burn. It'll be a black ash. And you literally have to keep lighting a joint every
Oh,
other
I see
hit.
what you mean.
No, this is white. It's
Okay,
just
then
shit.
there's just something wrong.
Yeah, it's the people that do this shit. And then they're gonna hear about it next time.
Well, do you think, D, that it's so have you taken the joint apart? So when you say re-roll it, do you mean like rip the paper apart, throw that paper away and try a new paper?
Yep.
And you can't roll it because it's too fluffy or what?
No, it's just too. I don't know. It's just too shitty. I've tried
It won't
re-rolling the
stick
same
together
joint.
at all. It's kind of like too it's like dry flakes kind of.
Yeah, and I've tried to roll them like 3 or 4 times, like
That's
back to
just
back.
swaggy weed. That's just really swaggy weed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, if you had like it could be if it was super dry, like but I mean just retardedly dry. But you would know that for basically the harshness of it essentially, but it would burn. If it was super, super dry, it would burn just like a tinder, right? So basically if it's super swaggy, kind of larfy with almost no trichome coverage, et cetera, basically that's why it won't it won't condense on itself because there's not enough oil in the not only in the trichomes, but there's not enough oil in the actual like vegetal matter. Yeah, that's just really, really swaggy garbage weed. Yeah.
Yeah, word. They'll be hearing about it tomorrow.
That's a shame that they sell it.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't. Well, yeah, they sell it, but they also give it away. It's
Oh.
free. But but
If
they
that's a
also do sell
strategy,
them.
that's a strategy to give out shitty weed. I mean, I don't know, North Star.
Pretty
What do you?
stupid strategies.
I
You
still
give away some
remember.
shitty weeds, no one wants to come back and buy anything from you.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, like, what the fuck? Why would I come back to somebody who has a shitty weed or shitty a pre-roll? I still remember this guy that gave me what turned out to be one of the only good pre-rolls I've ever gotten at the Emerald Cup. He was just giving them out one after another, and it was so fucking good. I remember it to this day. If I ran into that guy on the street today, I would buy weed from him. Like that's how memorable it was that fucking joint was. And that the sad thing is that it's become even more memorable because I never get good pre-rolls from basically anybody. Okay, from a friend maybe or something that rolls, they're homegrown, but not from a dispenser or anything like that.
Yeah.
Not at a show or anything. Oh, yeah. Why would you give out shitty? It's the same thing with freebie seeds that are apparently people's shitty seeds. I'm like, why would you give out your shitty seeds? Then someone's going to grow your shitty seeds and think you're a
Yep.
terrible fucking breeder and tell all of their friends that you're a terrible fucking breeder. And before you know it, instead of having a wonderful commercial that turns into a sale, you have a guaranteed no from 30 fucking people. That's the dumbest thing you could possibly do. Oh. But
Yeah.
whatever. That's a strategy.
Now they're now I must say their cannabis is good. I don't have a problem with their cannabis they have. It's awesome. It's just
That
a
must just
pre-roll.
be their swaggy trim. So how is their cannabis good, but their pre-rolls are bad? Where are they getting their pre-roll material from? Just
Exactly.
or is it the stuff that everyone walks on while they're trimming? Like seriously,
It's bad.
is it the hamster bedding that they use to I don't even know. Something.
Yeah.
There was a really funny video on Reddit yesterday. Um, Unfortunately, someone ruined the pleasure for me because basically, okay, what it was the kindergarten hamster or whatever got out basically, and it was in a hamster ball, and it basically got out of the door and just started like scooting around like with its little hamster ball all around the school trying to get away. And then someone in the chat was like, "Oh, just so you know, hamster balls are actually really bad for hamster feet." Like, there's always somebody that ruins it for you, right? But I mean, I'd rather know that than not know it, but still. This little fucking hamsters going all around the school, and the best part is like none of the kids like intervenes. They're all like, not it, or I'm not snitching or whatever, right? Like just letting the hamster go do its thing. Finally, the hamster like I can't remember. Oh, the end, it just kind of goes into another room or whatever. But it's like going all around the school. It shows from like the overhead cameras. Pretty fucking funny. What else is new? Folks, nobody else wants to hop on here? What the shit? Come on. All you have to do is ask nicely. We'd be happy to provide a link here. You're more than welcome to come join the conversation. Let me see here. Did I save any stories? You know, interestingly, not only Kamala, but Kamala, fuck, I still say it wrong. But also Waltz the other day said that they should that we should legalize weed. I was like, holy shit, that's kind of progress.
The devil, you say?
Well, come on. Legalizing it means that they can tax it and control it. So if you
Deschedule
I
it.
mean, it's the whole
decriminalize it,
I hope they're not gonna, because that's the thing. When they say legalize it, that's different than saying rescheduling it, because they used to say reschedule it. Now
yeah.
saying legalize it gives me a glimmer of hope that they actually will just flat out legalize it. But let's be honest, they'll probably just reschedule it.
Well,
To legalize it, it's not, they have to deschedule it. If it's legal and still a class 3, that's like a Xanax. And you're not supposed to be growing Xanax, making your own Xanax in your house. So they're going to frown upon that.
Mm.
So if
and
it
that
turns to where it's Schedule 1 or something to where like it's more of akin to I'm brewing my own beer at my house or something to that nature, or I'm growing marigolds in the backyard, then yeah, make it legal. Don't make it legal to where I have to have a special business license in order to grow something in my backyard for myself.
or limit it.
Yeah, or have some kind of crazy
You know,
some
Now
two
might have
plants,
more than
6 plants.
I get in trouble. Yeah.
I wish it wasn't legal here in Canada. They shouldn't have legalized it now that I see the picture. They should have kept it medical. I
Yeah.
hate the
Why
whole
do you say
legalization.
that? Because of the way the open market has kind of bastardized it, or what?
The market, the shitty market, um, the quality,
Mm.
like it just, yeah, I don't. It should have been just kept medical. That's what I think. And then I would have still had my medical store open, where I could just go and get some proper cannabis.
I noticed basically in some states in the United States too, by calling it legal, it's kind of a backdoor way to have more control over the citizens and
Yeah.
implement more fines and so forth, to where when it's medical, they don't really get in any trouble for, oh, you have 8 plants as opposed to 6 or something. It's no big deal. Just take 2. Now it's like, oh, well, and there's this license law here, blah, blah. You got to pay $500 per plant or some bullshit. It's now they have a way to get money.
Washington, they took home grow away.
Law.
You literally can't grow shit, not even 30, 40, 50 miles up the across the river. You can't fucking grow. Like literally, you can look at Washington. You could be growing. You could be great if you had a house out of city limits. Literally, like if you were up in the gorge or something. If you had a house up on past Hood River, out of city limits, you could literally with a medical card, you could be growing 48 or maybe even more plant. I think you can grow up to 96 plants if you're out of city limits with the right permits and everything else. You have to pay for it, of course, but it's not thousands. It's just hundreds, honestly. And across the river, a person could be looking at you and they can't. That's not true. In Washington, they do have medical. Now that I think about it, they do have medical, but you have to submit to regular inspections. So basically, you have a plant. I think it's up to 15 plants, or is it just a straight 15? I don't remember now. Okay, it wasn't as bad as I first said. Washington does have medical, but you don't have rec grow at all. They used to, though, was my point. They used to have rec grow, and they gave it up basically in what, 2018, I want to say. They were one of the first states to allow home grow, and then they had to give it up again. It's fucking ridiculous.
Here's my thing. I don't want to see them regulate it on the grow side. They come to your house, you have 500 plants or you have 50 plants.
Yeah.
They don't do nothing. If you have 50 pounds or 5 pounds, you do nothing. If they catch you selling 50 pounds or catch you selling, you have to give the license to sell, then yeah, they can go ahead and get whatever. If you're not, because if you're not just, hooking your dad or your brother up with an ounce here and there or whatever, or you're a good buddy from high school with some bud, no big foul. But if you're actually selling it on the black market, you're trying to get big money and you're trying to play the system, well, then you're trying to bend the rules. You make some people frown upon them and make people look bad. So it's what grabs the attention. So go after them for the actual sale, not the growing of it, because at that point it could be shit. I'm growing because I'm making lots of butter. I'm giving it away for free to cancer patients. Well, don't fucking come down on me for that bullshit. That's I'm helping people. I happen to be able to afford to grow a lot of plants. I don't need the money. I'm doing it for fun, and I want to give away 200 pounds of butter this year. People that need it. I should be allowed to grow 200 plants or whatever. I'm growing something. I'm not if I turn and process it, whatever, great. At the point I go and start selling it on the open market and making money off of it, I'm not licensed to do so. That's where maybe you need a license to do so there. The license to grow is fucking
And wouldn't it be
unconstitutional.
nice, 100% reasonable argument that you just made, North Star, and then on the other end, you could just say, okay, if you could provide a reasonable way to get a license to actually sell that weed, that would be a wonderful system. There's no reason why you should allow only big gargantuan corporate grows, and you can't allow somebody who could, for example, pass a pesticide check or whatever maybe there's some reasonable criteria for that license, right? Maybe you have to submit to pesticide checks. Maybe you have to submit to inspections, whatever. You could get that license for a reasonable fee, not $100,000, but $1,000 or $500. That'd be fucking amazing. And then you'd end up paying income tax on that on the end of it. Like it would be beneficial for everybody, right? But of course, they're not going to allow that. Well,
That's common sense. Come on.
fuck, wouldn't that be nice?
When it comes to the way it works now, they talk about making it legal. It's a regulated system. It just means they're going to be a bunch of hoops and stuff to jump through, and they're going to try to collect money every little ounce of the way, from the grower, from the tax to the end person. This fee, that fee. Everyone that's lobbied them along the way gets paid. I mean, Christ, out here in California, I remember Subcool telling me when he tried to get a license at his place, a guy came to the property, made some fucking bird calls, walked around for half an hour. And that was like a multi-$1,000 issue just to have somebody come and make bird calls to look for a certain species of bird that might be in the area or something. Like, I get a job at the Audubon Society making like $2,000 an hour walking around making bird calls. My goodness. I mean, that sounds like a freaking, and it's mandated by these areas. You're in an area that's got like trees around, you have to do it in order to get your permit. So
Sign me up. I can make bird calls.
They know somebody high up that got them that awesome deal so they can charge a ridiculous amount of, yes, they call and just listen. All right, you're all good to go. I don't hear nothing. Give me the money.
Pay me in cannabis. I take cannabis too.
Stuff like that, you do shake your head. I mean, how do I put this? I'm all in favor of protecting birds, but that was such a circumstance. Like, Sub wasn't talking about industrializing his space.
That's weird.
They make the laws playing with people's fears. Oh my God, they're going to eradicate the birds. We have to have this law in place. Well, yeah, if I have a 700-acre farm and I'm clear cutting trees everywhere, maybe you need to come out and have the Audubon Society look around because you're clearing off 700 acres of trees. Yeah. I'm not cutting a damn tree in my backyard at all. I'm actually putting up a greenhouse. I don't think the birds all of a sudden they're going to have trouble with me, my little greenhouse that's 10 by 20 in my backyard. I mean, there's difference. The laws are the same for everybody when they generally apply to people that are actually having an impact that would require the law to come into effect.
It's all about the Benjamins. That's all it is.
Exactly.
100%.
And another thing, I'm sorry, guys, I forgot to mention about legalization in Canada. We're only allowed to grow, recreational is only allowed 4 plants. Which is total bullshit.
Yep.
Which is good. I'm glad I'm not recreational, but it sucks for everybody else. And at the beginning of legalization here, they were going to hire a crew with meter sticks to go around the people's grows and make sure they're not over too tall. Because we were only supposed to grow them so tall or something. Something stupid. But yeah. Can you imagine people going around with meter sticks? Oh, your plants are too tall.
It's a goddamn plant. They do that. They get tall sometimes. Yeah. They do the thing.
Crazy.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do if your plant's getting tall? Like beat it or something?
Bend it over.
I don't understand what you're supposed to fucking do.
That's what I would have done.
You're too good at growing. You're penalized.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Take all the laws away from the growing aspect of it. I mean, how many laws are involved with growing tomatoes and everything else? I'm just trying to grow something. Yeah. Now, if I'm trying to sell tomatoes like flats and pounds of them to Walmart, I probably need some kind of license, a farm license or something to actually sell them. But I can grow as many goddamn tomatoes on my property as I want to, and no one's going to give me a hard time about it.
Even then, I don't think you need all that much. I should check exactly what you need. Someone in the chat, I think, probably would know this. I think you just need basically a stall license. Maybe you need a business license, but I kind of doubt it because I think a lot of times you can sell it like a farmer's market.
Temporary.
You basically work under their business license. So I think all you really need is I don't even think you have to have a food handler's permit or anything because it's not a prepared food unless you
Yeah.
were preparing sliced tomatoes, I suppose. But if you're selling cucumbers, tomatoes, whatever the fuck. I don't think you need much of much, honestly. And definitely you see people obviously selling without permits, right? Like I don't know how many times outside of Costco or whatever, people basically just buy bulk fruits from Mexico or something and sell them basically right outside of or on the street corner or something. They probably don't have a permit. You know what I mean? And I don't see the police
Oh,
swooping
yeah,
in on them with goddamn SWAT team and stuff
exactly.
wood on a cannabis fucking operation. So
They're not going to somebody has exactly. They have hundreds of plants in their backyard. They're all tomatoes, saying, you know what? We know you're going to be selling these tomatoes
that's it. They
somewhere.
don't go in there,
You
shoot
got
their
to pay us
dog
now
first, and yeah.
to make sure we get
100%.
our money up front.
We got to get our tax on these tomatoes.
Yeah, we got to get our tax on these.
He has 257 brandy wines in the backyard. Book him,
Yeah,
Dano.
exactly. If he processes, that's going to be at least like 85 gallons of sauce.
Can you imagine the picture instead of the cops with all the drugs on the table? There's like 50 fucking tomato plants on the table, just a full fucking Roma tomatoes, and they're all proud with their guns.
Yeah.
Please, search warrant. Get down, get down.
But I mean, that's the situation it is. I mean, you could be somebody that grows and makes a lot of butter or something for yourself, or you exactly give it away. So you grow extra plants. All of a sudden, you're being spotted as, oh, you're a criminal. Like I'm like, what? Cut me a break. I grow extra plants. I enjoy growing them. First of all, they're fun, and I happen to donate a lot. Now all of a sudden, I have to have special license. It's a bit out of hand. It's not like that with anything else. I can go to the food bank and drop off bushel and bushel of apple or thousands of pounds of tomatoes, and they're like, "Thank you so much for the donation. We love it." I don't have to have some kind of crazy freaking license to donate to the food banks or anything.
Right. Absolutely.
That's good. That's awesome.
It's what I love about Michigan and the caregiver system up there. And they actually set it up right. If you wanted a micro business on your property, and you can open up a little dispensary right there on your property, and it's 12,500 a year for 150 flowering plants. You can process it in the rosin right there at your place. You can do everything. But once you go to the super micro business, which I think is only a few hundred more plants, if that, maybe double the number, you can't process like rosin or you can't make edibles on your property. You actually have to send it out to someone to do.
And I got a question. I don't know if you know, but if you were to have the micro license to where you could have 150 plants, you could process that all for your own shop. Well, you're also allowed to be a regular vendor and bring in other people's products to have along with it. You could have a really nice full shop that specializes in your own unique little brand, but yet offer them some mainstream stuff. You have a really good business for 12,000 years. Not bad at all. If that encompasses the processing and everything, that's pretty good.
Holy,
Yeah.
holy picture.
But they tried doing that in Michigan where they wanted to come in and inspect your grows, and the caregivers went from like basically since they started doing everything, it went from maybe 120,000 caregivers down to maybe 15, 20,000 now. I was just talking with my friend, and he says there's less than 900 of us in the county now that are caregivers. When we started off, there was like 2,000 in our county, 2,500.
Why do you think that is, Captain?
It's because of It's because of big business. They drove down the prices,
Mm.
and when people can just, basically it drove down the prices to the point where, because as a caregiver, you were allowed to sell your overages, okay, to try to recoup back your electric bill, your nutrients, your time that you took to grow for other people. And when it costs you $900, $1,200 a pound to grow, and there's $500 pounds out there all over the place, you know, and this happens year after year after year. You can't compete that way.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're actually growing for other people, shit, your electric bill, let alone your nutrients. I bought Athena the other day for my IPM because that's what I decided to go with.
Mm-hmm.
And that was $150 they had it marked for a gallon.
What's the concentration?
Milliliters for 10 liters. I can't remember
Oh
exactly.
well, so that'll last a while.
Yeah.
For a foliar spray, this was a pesticide foliar spray. What
Yes.
is it?
Yes.
That's a pretty good that's basically like a warehouse concentration. That'll last you a while. I mean, I guess the
Yeah.
size of your grow, I suppose, but fucking gallon is a lot of milliliters. How many milliliters are in a gallon? How many?
400 and some, I guess.
Yeah.
No,
4,000.
4,500 and something like that on there.
3,785. We were all still a lot, a fucking lot of milliliters.
Yeah.
So if it's I don't know, if it's 3 milliliters per 10 liters, you've got a while. You've got a fucking while. You got maybe 1,000 doses or something. You got a while.
Yeah.
But
And you can atomize it too.
what's the I guess I've heard people talk about this. I guess that's the a whole big line or whatever. But what's the particular makeup of the IPM?
Uh, Basically oils.
Like natural oils or what?
Yeah, one is peppermint,
Oh.
I
Sure.
think.
So it's a really expensive like horticultural oil? Oh, I guess we can look it up.
Kinda, because I looked at Laos Coast, and they had similar
Barley.
things.
2-minute warning, everybody.
Get your bowls ready, ladies and germs. All right, let's
I gotta get my
This is not a commercial, ladies and gentlemen. We are not under any circumstances being sponsored by these people or recommending them. I'm just genuinely curious.
I
Uh,
kind of hated buying it, to tell you the truth.
well, it certainly sounds expensive for a natural IPM, but then again, if it's actually real natural oils, they're quite expensive. So, and if you can atomize it, perhaps they are, I can't think of the word for it, but basically blended very small. Let's see here. Kills on contact. I would hope it does. 3 modes of action: smother, desiccate, prevent. All right, that's good. Let's see here. But do they tell us what it's actually made from? Prevents. They give us a? Here we go. This is a little bit more info, but still just drench procedure. Do they tell us what it's made of? They don't tell us what it's made of. Where do we find? All right, all right, I'm gonna stop share. Maybe this will tell
He's
us.
not.
Download.
Oh, I know I've gotten a spray before I've used from Safer Brain. It was basically like soybean, garlic, rosemary, and clove, I believe was the mix, something of that effect. It's not that expensive, but it was all actually food grade. So I'm thinking you could actually mix it up and make salad dressing with it. It smells like a freaking garlicky mix to begin with. And it's just basically same thing. It smothers bugs and repels them.
Interesting.
And it's not that expensive.
All right, it won't even let me download it for some reason. I
Okay.
love when they make things difficult for you to know what's in them. Okay, here now, it's fine.
Makes you think maybe they're hiding something.
Yeah, right. Spray procedure. Where are we at? Oh, they still don't tell me where it's made of. Oh, here it is.
Peppermint,
They don't tell us. They tell us
lemongrass.
the Athena stack being derived from kelp extract provides, but they don't tell us what the
I'm
IP.
reading it off the back of the bottle.
Oh, please.
Citric acid, and there's one other thing.
Here, we just spell that out.
Yeah, GERANKUM oil.
And then
Geranimol or whatever.
Geranium?
Yeah.
Can you just point the camera at the bottle or?
Yeah, let me take it upstairs.
Oh, it might be too far. It might not be able to focus on that. Well, we'll see. Maybe it can.
We'll try. God damn.
geranium oil.
17
1.5% peppermint
steps.
oil. 1.5% lemongrass oil.
Oh, nice.
1.5% geranium oil, and 0.05 citric acid.
And then it's made from
Water,
yeast.
sodium benzoate,
There
and
you go.
potassium tobate.
Damn.
Thank you, Southern.
Okay. Well, I got to work out.
Cheers, folks. By the way, happy 420. I'm curious. We should talk about one of these days. We should talk. Oh, thank you, Southern VT Grown. He posted in the chat there. Like you said, active ingredients: 1.5% peppermint oil, 1.5% lemongrass oil, 1.5% geranium oil, 0.05% citric acid, inert ingredients. These are all really, yeah, that's worth discussion in the future. Definitely worth discussion in the future because that's a high price for that. Still, if it works, I'm completely open to that, but that seems like a crazy high price for what they're selling. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're gonna slowly slink our way out of here. Basically, we won't call it a retreat; we'll call it a tactical surrender. But we'll meet next time. What are we gonna do? Saturday takeover? Or?
Yep.
Right on. Sweet. All right. Let's see. Did I miss anybody in the chat here? SO Organics is in the house. Good to see you, buddy. Long time no see. He says each property has to hold a separate license. Oh, he's talking about something else. What is he talking about? Something about producer license sells to a wholesales license, which sells to a production license. In my case, the company I work for holds all the licenses, so they are interchangeable on site. For our farms, they just hold our producer licenses. Oh, okay. Well, so you need a producer license, basically. But still, wouldn't it be nice if you could just get a producer license for weed and sell it at the farmers market? Fuck, that'd be amazing, and then people would love it. It'd be fucking incredible. Honestly, it'd be a wonderful world. But for some reason, that can't happen for basically inexplicable reasons. That basically is honestly just giving more money to corporations. Anyway, let's start saying our good evenings. Who wants to go first? North Star?
Can I just say
I
before
gotta
we
get
go?
out of here. So.
Go for it.
Yeah, well, first off, I want to say I have a sale going on right now. Genetic Supply for Halloween just started the day. It's going all the way through the weekend. Use code TREAT, TREAT. It's 30% off the entire site. It is a treat for you. Take advantage.
They use the code TRICK. What do they get? Or is there?
They get not that they pay full price. So yeah, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Enjoy the fall weather.
Cheers.
One more trip around the sun. Here we go. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah, man.
Everyone have a good one. Take care.
Cheers. Good to see you.
Later.
Go for it, Captain.
Well, thanks for having a safety meeting.
Welcome.
I certainly enjoyed that first join of the day. So appreciate D for doing all he does too. And everybody out in chat, I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you later.
Yeah, good to see you, Captain. You go for it, buddy.
2 quick things before we go. little announcements. Deadfish fan in the chat says if anyone lives in the Baltimore, Maryland area, he's got 2 free tickets for Billy Strings for the next 2 nights. Any takers, let him know. And the second thing is Halloween's coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, if you see a blue pumpkin bucket with for collecting trees, that is someone that possibly has autism or something else. So please, if you see this blue bucket, be nice, give them a couple extra candies, and send them on their way. Okay, and don't forget Saturday takeover, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Pacific. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks always to Fumador to putting this shit together because I know how difficult it is and crazy. Hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you Saturday. Peace out.
It's not as difficult anymore, but it used to be difficult for quite some time. The people were fucking pills and a half. I don't even want to get into all the goddamn weird ass drama, but I appreciate the sentiment. First of all, I'm not trying to argue with you, but it is quite a bit. I have to acknowledge it's quite a bit easier these days than it used to be. It used to be really quite challenging to deal with some of you fucking people. What do you mean, you people? I mean exactly that. Some of you fucking people really need some civilization or something. I don't know. Y'all motherfuckers need Jesus or something. Anyway, as I interrupt rolling this, I guess I could keep rolling this honestly while I'm doing it. It occurred to me, I don't know, maybe I should talk about the election briefly, but I thought, I'm not going to ambush North Star. I'm not going to ambush anybody else on the show who, first of all, might have different opinions and so on. So I don't want to put people on the spot. So, folks, I just want to make sure, first of all, that you all of you Americans, obviously, take take some time out if you have to. A lot of folks, unfortunately, have to take time off work. We in Oregon get to mail our ballots. I think we exclusively have mail-in voting, which has been tremendously helpful because actually Oregon, I think, has the highest percentage of voters. It's something like 70 something percent, way higher than most states. Most states are unfortunately under 50% of voting. I think that's kind of a travesty. I think we all are subject to the fucking whims of these goddamn fuckers that run the government. I think that at the very least we can voice our opinions, at least in this country. There's a lot of countries where your opinion essentially doesn't fucking matter. And I think that for the moment, at least we need to make our opinions heard if we can. With that said, I do certainly have a preference. I first of all want you guys to make sure to go out and vote. So I don't want you to think
Yes.
Fumi's against me or anything like that. So I definitely want you to go out and vote. Please don't get discouraged if you see any fucking shenanigans. There have been shenanigans. I wouldn't be surprised if there's shenanigans from groups on, I hate to say both sides. I hate that argument. It's fucking ridiculous, right? But still, we both understand, or all of us understand what I'm talking about. There could be shenanigans just from random people, right? Just could be fucking troublemakers. I was talking to a friend of mine about, it doesn't matter the specifics, but I was talking about how a lot of these fucking, protesters and stuff that Portland is known for are literally just shit-seeking fucking weirdos, right? Because I've known a few of them. Anyway, be safe, honestly. Smashed always says that. I would say be safe as well. Don't get discouraged or disgruntled or anything else. I mean, I guess be disgruntled, but don't get discouraged if someone is yelling and screaming or whatever else at the ballot, whatever they're saying. Try to go and do your civic duty, right? Like, people have lived and died for the right to vote in this country. I think it's important to exercise our vote. I'm one of those weird people that thinks that it's important actually to serve on a jury, because fuck me, do you want to be do you want to be subject to a jury one day and have them all be weirdos? No, you want to have normal people there. So I feel like it's a civic duty for us to occasionally serve on a jury, as annoying as that may be. And I think it's also something that we should do, is to vote. I said that badly. Anyway, with that said, folks, I do have a very clear preference. I guess you could say it's an endorsement. I don't think anyone's going to change their fucking votes based on my opinion, but I do definitely prefer. She's not my first choice. She's not my second, third, fourth, fifth choice, whatever, right? I think most of us agree that we weren't born waiting to say the name Kamala Harris, but she's fine. You know what I mean? She's fucking fine. Of the list of people that could have been, she's honestly one of the best ones. So I think she's done a really good job. She's definitely done a really good job of showing herself as somebody that can be relied on, who has good judgment, et cetera, et cetera. So I think honestly, it's a very safe bet, ladies and gentlemen, to vote for her. And I have to be honest, I would not, any circumstances, vote for her opponent. So I would very much recommend that you follow the same whatever.
That's
But
what I say.
again, I hope that you guys vote. That's the most important thing. What's that, D?
Sorry to interrupt. That's what I say, man. Don't vote for that guy. Oh my God.
Man, I don't know
Anyway,
why you would.
vote for whoever you want, but
It's like voting for chaos. I guess there's a lot of
yeah,
people who like to see the world burn. I don't think that's a very healthy way of looking at things. I don't think he's a productive person. I think everything he does is focused on himself first and foremost. I think he first and foremost thinks about his personal benefit. I think that's not the first American president that was that way, but he's definitely probably one of the most egregious ones that way. I could say even both Bushes. I'm probably one of the a few liberal people who would say that Bush one actually was a halfway decent president. His son, I wouldn't say was that great of a president, but I don't know. Whatever. We don't have to compare these fucking people, to be perfectly honest, because that's kind of playing hypothetical. I am not a big fan of fraudsters. I'm not a big fan of con men. I'm not a big fan of people who willingly and intentionally screw people over. He's known in the New York area, the New York, Atlantic City area, the whole fucking area, also other places in Scotland, for ripping off and stiffing small-time contractors, basically making them sue him to get paid. That's fucked up. That's just something that rich aristocrat fucks do. If you guys want a society filled with billionaire injustices, this is where we're headed, basically. I guess that probably sounds really too abstract, but I've been thinking about this. I think most Americans, Canadians, most of us in the New World in general, don't really know what it was like to live under these like feudal systems where basically a king or an oligarch or a dictator can just literally tell you what the fuck he wants to do. An extreme example of that was in Iraq, where not only, of course, everyone knows about Saddam Hussein, but Uday, was it Uday or Qusay? I think both of them were terrible. I think it was Uday who would drive around and he would go to like high school dances. He would go to basically high schools and he would have his security guards. He would point at a girl that he liked and they would abduct her and he would rape and then kill her. And if the parents complained, he would kill them too. One time, he beat one of his security. No, he beat his father's security guard to death because the security guard had introduced Saddam Hussein had introduced Saddam to his second wife. So, of course, in the Arab world, you can marry multiple women. Of course, the women can't marry multiple men, but the men can marry multiple women. So Saddam Hussein took a second wife, not like a first wife was divorced and then another one. No, like he took a second wife, and Uday was insulted by that. And in front of also, I think she was the who the fuck was it? It was a diplomat from Egypt, I want to say. Anyway, it was like prime minister's wife or some shit. Basically, it was a party for her. He beat the security guard to death. Basically, got away with it because he was the dictator's son. There are plenty of other examples in the world where essentially the dictator can tell you what to do and you have to do it, and that's the end of it. There's just absolutely no question about justice or injustice. You're just gonna fucking live with that monumental injustice of basically a lord lording over you. I'm not being very clear right now because that dab actually hit me a little harder than I thought. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why you would want to live under fucking oligarchs. I don't know why you'd want to live under people who basically are untouchable. I don't know why you would want to live in a system where your voice doesn't fucking matter. But that's where we're headed if we basically vote this New York billionaire in. I mean, I don't have to exaggerate, right? Like he's a New York billionaire. He's friends with billionaires. I don't think that's a healthy situation. I don't think billionaires should exist. So even if there was nothing else wrong with the guy, I think that would be a pretty big fucking red flag. But there happens to be quite a few other red flags. The Russia connections that people don't talk about nearly enough. The fact that they were gullible enough to get hacked by the Chinese, that just came out the other day. What was it? The FBI said that the whole Trump family got hacked by the Chinese, their personal phones. Meanwhile, the US government has been warning them for years to stop using their fucking personal phones because they're hackable. Those people are dumber than three fucking rocks in a bag. Ladies and gentlemen, don't vote for them. Come on. It's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous. But again, vote your conscience. I'm not going to yell at you if you vote a different way. I'm be honest. I'm going to judge you, but I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to tell you to fuck off or something. I'm not going to tell you you're banned from the show or some shit. But do remember that there are consequences to your behavior, ladies and gentlemen. So if you vote for a shit heathen, that's going to hit you as much as it hits the rest of us. Anyway, I don't know how else to say it. Whatever. Ladies and geraniums. Good to see everybody. Dead Fish fan. Jason online. Jason online says the American one for president. American one says red wing, blue wing, same bird. Orange man is not a bird part. I don't know what that means. What else here? American one, there are definitely things you can say about Kamala. She was a prosecutor. She was the DA of what, San Francisco. Then she became the attorney general. I don't know that a person like that can ever be 100% clean. The governor of any state, honestly, if any state has a death row, there's been a few states that have abolished their death rows because the governor complained, right? I think Illinois was one of them. Anyway, I don't remember that story too well. But in a state that has a death penalty, the governor is ultimately culpable for that death if they execute any prisoners under their term. That's something those people have to live with. Sometimes it's easy to live with, sometimes it's probably not. Anyway, that's definitely an argument to be had, and certainly I wish we could have a little bit more time to discuss that story. But right now, I guess we'll just have to fucking bag it and let it go. I think even with that said, even the American one, I think the choice is stark and clear. Polyfig says D for Universal Galactic Leader. I think we can agree to that one. Everybody vote for D. Anyway,
Ah,
folks, I'm going to cut this one short. So cheers, J5. Cheers, Jason. Cheers, Herb. Between being asked to choose between moist egg farts and hot garbage juice. I don't think it's that bad, but that's pretty funnily stated, Hillbilly Herb. Ladies and Geraniums, who else have I missed? CTC, good to see you. Who am I fucking missing? Love for the Plant, good to see you. He says D for president. That's, again, one we can agree on. Who am I missing? Pet G, good to see you. He says, will rewatch and like. Thank you, Pet G. Patricia Walker, good to see you as always. Pet G says Caribbean Love. Good to see you, buddy. Who else? Rory Gardner. Almost fucked up your name there, buddy. Salt and Sea Seeds says One Love. And DGC Jeff, the doctor himself, as always. Southern VT Grown, how could I forget your name? Good to see everybody. As always, if you guys have been shouted out or not shouted out, I fucking said that stupidly. Consider yourselves shouted out. That's what I was trying to say. And if I didn't shout you out, I'll shout you out next time. I was reading the question when I was trying to say that, and I was getting confused. CTC, Fumi, are you some kind of Tartarian? What's a Tartarian? Like a tartar saucist, or like someone who's into tartar sauce? I like tartar sauce. Does that make me a Tartarian? I'm honestly curious what he's fucking saying. All right, whatever. We don't have to wait. It's probably just a joke. Got a couple questions. Every show, a couple questions about my website. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully it will return like James Bond, basically. But just, I don't know, life has just been very, very complicated and confusing and everything else. So I've just been trying to deal with that kind of stuff. I'm still dealing with this fucking lawsuit that will probably never go away, it seems like. This fucking real shitbag sandbagged me. It's just a just ridiculous situation, honestly. I wish I could tell you more about it. It's not like it would help, honestly. Frankly, it doesn't help when I tell people, because it's sad and stupid, honestly. Like there's never been one time when people were like, "Oh my God, you're totally an asshole, Fumi. You should have." No, people burst out crying like on my behalf, because it's just such an egregious situation. Like it's fucked up when you know some of the details, and I just have to deal with it. So it's been a lot of stress, and not whatever. Whatever. I'm not going to deal with. I'm not going to tell you that private details, because there's just we're in a nice situation right now where the trolls are quiet. I'm going to keep that situation there. We're not going to feed the trolls anything. We're gonna stay in this little situation here where the shows are nice and chill. You know what I mean? So we'll save the details for the future. But in the meantime, hopefully the website will be back. Even if I breed for myself, that's not stopping. If I breed for myself, you're not getting any of the seeds. I have to be honest. So that's just going to be shit out of you're going to be shit out of luck. But if I do come back breeding, I've got plenty of stuff to release. Honestly, maybe I'll even do the testers again. I fucking don't know, man. I don't know. I need a little bit more stability in life before I bring it all back. So we'll see. I've been thinking about bringing back basically limited menus for limited times, essentially kind of like drops for a couple days at a time. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a drop, let's say, for example, for Black Friday. I don't know. I'm thinking about it because part of the problem is we don't have to get into the details. Lady and Geraniums, good to see you. Yeah, 20 minutes later. Come on, we don't have to keep wasting time. Folks, I do encourage you to vote, and I hope, frankly, that you do vote for the
Go vote.
smarter choice and not for the end of fucking American democracy. Because, ladies and gerbils, like seriously, Tao and a few others, can you really disagree that Trump will basically pull the whole fucking thing down around him? Like, I think that's his goal, right? He's been pretty open about that. He's been pretty fucking blatant about basically jailing his enemies, literally jailing his enemies. If that's not a blazing fucking, I don't even know how loud of a fucking honk, like a goddamn harbor horn. That's not even a fucking bullhorn. That's a harbor horn. If that's not loud enough for you, we're just going to have to agree that we're not going to ever see eye to eye on that kind of stuff. I think that's a bad thing. Go ahead, D.
I was just gonna say, and don't forget that Trump is actually not running to become president, guys. He's running to keep out of jail, out of prison.
That's a pretty astute observation, D. First of all, his physical condition is not spectacular. If you've seen him recently,
No.
he's not a person who will most likely be around in 4 years, or at least will be capable of being fully cognizant in 4 years. This is a guy who's going to get pardoned by his vice president, who is a couch fucking charlatan. I mean, the dude is weird with a capital W. That's the best thing you can say about him. That's going to be the next president. So you're basically voting for the sack of shit, essentially, who's going to pardon himself or get pardoned by his vice president. His own fucking previous vice president is not voting for him. That says just a lot. And by the way, this is not made up. I mean, the stuff you say about these people, it's the way that this guy survives is that his stories are so implausible that people just kind of tune it out. He or his followers tried to hang his former vice president because he refused to certify or uncertify the election so that Trump could win. That was at last January 6th. I can't even. Yeah, if that's not enough for you guys, there never will be enough, and there's no reason to keep talking. Ladies and gerbils, good to see everybody. Good to see who else in here. Stragglethorn, Big Terp. What does Stragglethorn here say? Believing he's jailing his enemies. Absurd. Stragglethorn, he's been saying he's going to be jailing his fucking enemies, like the enemies within and stuff. This is out of his mouth, man, out of his fucking mouth. I'm not making it up. Anyway, ladies and geraniums, we're not gonna devolve into weirdness at the end here. We're just gonna chilly bounce and have a good one, my friends. Make sure to be kind, be decent, be gentle, don't be fucking pricks, dicks, or lunatics. Make sure to puff something wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. And I do hope that you actually vote. And until we meet again, adios. Bad timing. Until we meet again, adios. Thanks for